right. Well, I didn't want to have to do this video, but you know what? It's just such a fucked up story, and the vibe and aura around this whole situation has gotten insane. I mean, it's permeated all of Western conscious, and it's just one of those feelings that there's this massive cloud just hanging over it all. Now, if you don't know, last week or something, there was a murder that occurred in the States. Obviously, very racial involved. There was a kid who was at a track meet, and there was another kid kind of seemingly causing trouble in a tent, and one kid pulled out a knife, killed the other one, and that's where we are today. And the one black male student ran away, but then admitted to this situation. So I mean, cut and dry. Like there's so much banter back and forth online over who did what, and whether or not it was justified or this or that or the other. But yeah, anyone with a brain can see exactly what occurred. It's the type of situation where you just, these things happen all the time in the world. They're just bad situations. Emotions flare, people, do terrible things, and it's just an outsource. But the gravity of this situation lends to the fact of the racial tensions in the United States, which just continue to just grow and grow and grow and grow. Now, it's not so extreme in my country, where and in Canada there's more of an equilibrium between these things, but everything that occurs in the United States permeates into Canada. We're virtually identical societies, with Canadians being kind of more less inclined to agree. But these things do seep out, and people are seeing this more in Canada as the U.S. just reaches fever pitch after fever pitch. You see it in the Tesla things. You see it in the other problems that occur. So basically, I mean, 17-year-old accused of fatally stabbing a fellow teen at a track meet, warns him, touch me and see what happens. Now that is a pretty sinister statement from Karmelo, in my opinion. And it's just the kind of thing where it's just sad to see that this, Austin had a bright future ahead of him. Maybe there was a little bit of back and forth between these two. Maybe they didn't even know each other, but I mean, it's school. These kids, like, they all know each other. They're all aware of each other, and it speaks to me that Austin's this high achieving. He's a big dude. Really promising future, wealthy parents, really, 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 a shining example of someone who is kind of a, accepting. Oh, he let me through. Wow, incredible. Speaks to me as someone who's kind of the cool kid, and everybody can see kind of what occurred. This tragic situation that that Karmelo was very, very not very liking Austin as a person. I would almost guaranteed to wager to see. And we're seeing horrible things from the other side defending Karmelo. And I have to tell you, the shit I've seen people say on Twitter in defense of this kid, who obviously made a terrible mistake, had violent tendencies, was completely and utterly in the wrong. Anybody can see that in this situation. All the testimonies, all the evidence we've gotten out, this kid murdered this other kid. It's like, this is not acceptable behavior in society. We do not allow this. And this is the kind of stuff that we're seeing. We're seeing, you know, likes. We're seeing donation pages. We're seeing, free him type behaviors, and that just is wrong. I really hate to put it into perspective, but this type of shit is just wrong. And who is donating to this? Who is saying, I'm totally for free of expression, but when you're paying money to a person who did something awful, and there's maybe a little bit of bias there is the reason between it, it's ugly. It's just so ugly. So you got pundits like Matt Walsh really jumping on this. I mean, it's a huge story in the United States because, as we all know, after the George Floyd riots occurred, this is all simmered down. George Floyd situation, very different situation. Was it a combination of fentanyl and, over excessive force? Of course, of course. But if you have two things to blame, if you have an OD occurring at the same time excessive force is occurring, who do you blame? There's the human body can only take so much, and we're at the end of the day, we're just frail creatures. The human body is remarkably resilient, but if it can't take it, it just can't take it. And that's what happened with this Austin Metcalf, is that he was likely punctured right into somewhere vital, killed him instantly. It's just, there's no recovering from an injury like that. So I mean, it's a terrible situation, but just cut and dry, who's at fault? And yeah, like you get things like this. Who brings that? Who would do that? It speaks to that there was definitely a person who did something wrong, and other people are supporting this behavior. Very terrible. So the big speak was, GoFundMe took it down. They don't support these kinds of things. It's probably against the terms and conditions. Who knows how they took it off? But this company, Give Send Go, has the CEO or whatever, manager, community manager, some person has straight up came out and said, no, we're allowing it to occur. And you got Ian Miles Cherlong saying these very true words. Picture this: that coming together, pooling money towards that. What message does that send? You know what I mean? What message is that getting out there? That something so obviously wrong is being financially supported, huge amounts of money. Where does that money go? I mean, like, you can't pay to have someone, like, to make it go away. We don't live in a society like that you can just say, oh, we just are going to do this just because of X, Y, and Z reasons. It just is, it's very wrong, and it's really causing some terrifying racism online, I would say, on both sides, truly. And this is the same thing with the George Floyd thing, is that there's just a back and forth that is awful. and it's simmering. It's like a boiling pot of water that just keeps boiling harder and harder and harder. And like, when you turn on like a boiling kettle of water, like, it's starting to really rumble as far as I can see. And you see that on Twitter. Now, the mainstream media did not want to cover this. The mainstream media didn't want to cover this. The mainstream media didn't want to go anywhere fucking near this. Trust me. And you can tell by the way it kind of slowly got out. First it was only local. You saw it just exploding on Twitter. If Elon hadn't bought Twitter, we probably wouldn't have had as a big of a story as this. But this really resonates with people, because it's the type of situation where it just seems so senseless, so callous, so pointless. I mean, what the fuck was Karmelo thinking? I mean, was he actually thinking his pride and, you know, being the tougher person was going to, you know, was he going to win anything out of this? Well, according to these types of things, you know, he's getting all kinds of money flowing at this cause. And I'm not even going to go to the give, send, go thing, because some of the shit I've seen people say in his support thing. Let's get this baby home. I have a young black son as well. I live in Collin County. This baby was bullied. Like, someone else died. You do, like, bullying is an integral part of human society. You know, the bigger, you know, jock kids are always going to pick on those. That doesn't lead to a situation like this. That it should never. How does Karmelo be the bigger man? Just walk away. If he's getting pushed around, tell a teacher. Oh, but that's a culture where, oh, you know, don't snitch. Can't snitch on someone. You know, you can't be, you know, have your ego destroyed like that, and it's bullshit. So yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of. I've seen people forging reports. I've seen people, you know, spreading all kinds of crazy rumors about, you know, what occurred. It's fucked, and it's like there's no other way to describe this situation. And I think that the truth of the matter is that we all just feel like this is a big event. Like this is like gone from Twitter to, you know, mainstream news, and now it's just all over our feeds. Surprisingly, so Reddit is a very left-wing centered site, and surprisingly what you're seeing on Reddit is you're seeing people who are saying, yeah, no, this is extremely fucked. I mean, of course Reddit's going to lock these comments. But yeah, sitting in the wrong spot. And we can all you can see what occurred. Like, it's very obvious the situation that occurred. It was a scene of senselessness, and it was a scene where one person's ego got dashed and the other person, you know, reacted in a very awful way and should never be celebrated. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like people are saying, there's lots of back and forth. So let's have a look at controversial. It says, realistically, if you're brought enough to public area, you're already in the wrong. Exactly. In regards to defending, people just love the drama. In the West, it's what most people live for. That's why we have celebs like Jake Paul. It's just our society slowly eating itself from the inside, as it ultimately life is meaningless and directionless for a large swath of the population. Wow, is that ever poetry there from Important Cow 7230? It is. It's just senseless. It's a completely senseless situation. And then you get comments like that. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think that I mean, it's a tragic circumstance. These things happen all the time. You know, think about how many gang shootings. Think about how many, um, you know, car accidents. You know, think about how many times these just like people completely, um, you know, meaninglessly die for no reason, and it's just a human condition thing. But in this circumstance, what makes it so awful is that, I mean, you have people painting him as some kind of hero, and that's so fucked. That's so fucked. You know, of course you're going to draw inspirations to Kyle Rittenhouse. And you have this whole community of people like this that are trying to turn him into some fucking folk hero. And it's so fucked. It's so fucked how people think this way. You know, and it's interesting to get people's opinions on it, because you're seeing lots of sides from each side saying, hey, look, you know, even sides that are like that. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it just goes down to picking sides with race, and a lot of people are doing that. And a lot of people are really catching on to the fact of how messed up it is that, yeah. So, like I said, GoFundMe has shut that down. We have a new thing out where the lawyers are trying to say self-defense, of course, but uh, it's like how do you even relegate the fact that people are trying to defend this when it's so obvious? Now, if it was a situation where, like, the other person was beating him up, and like he's broken face and that, and there was nobody around, and like there's just so much. But these people were at a massive event. There were people all around. There were huge amount of witness testimony. They were saying, yeah, I mean, the kid was just like not in the right spot. He was rifling through his bag. He was being a nuisance kind of thing. The dudes just walked in and told him to just, take a hike. It's it's a completely, and you're seeing stuff like this, and you're seeing some absolutely awful things. It's just awful. It's an awful circumstance perpetrated by the media, perpetrated by this divisiveness, perpetrated by horrid comments online. It is a situation that is deeply fucked, and at the heart of it all is money, and that's sickening that people would donate to a person who so obviously did something wrong. It's fucked up. Because the Kyle Rittenhouse, like, trust me, I'm no fan of Kyle Rittenhouse. I mean, dude literally went there looking for trouble. You can't spin that any other way. I mean, the dude wanted to play Call of Duty. You can see the way he was dressed that night. But his situation was a lot more different because there was like active, huge events of violence going on. He was like attacked by multiple people. He was in danger for his life, truly. But on this circumstance, it it's almost it's almost completely obvious that dude just was unhappy with being pushed around, or perceived being pushed around. He could have just walked away. Could have just walked away from it all. And yeah, I don't know. You're seeing some really, really, really insane shit online, and I think it's an important educational thing for people to just kind of take it back, look at the evidence, and think logically. Because if you follow blind rage, you're always going to you're always gonna find the divisiveness online. You're always gonna find the hatred from both sides, and yeah, you want to always compare it to these other circumstances, but all these circumstances are always unique. And in this circumstances, the truth is that a young black man did something very wrong. A young white man paid for his life, and that that's just the truth of the matter. So to make him out as some type of great fear, I mean, and crazy craziness how people would talk like this. And these people are just bizarrely taking his side over it, and it really paints a picture of extreme divisiveness in America. And it's frightening to tell you the fucking truth. It's really fucking frightening, because if they're going to so quickly jump to this young man's defense, it's like, dude, the dude fucking killed someone. Like, he's not a hero. And he didn't do it in a way that, he was in a big group and he was getting attacked. and uh, dude could have been killed or beaten to death. No, he was literally at a sports event. There was people all around him. There were, parents, counselors, probably coaches, probably other players. He had no threat to his safety. There was no threat to his safety, and you're getting things like this now coming out. Now, these types of things are, you know, he literally admitted it to it. He literally admitted to it, and like that's redundant fact. Those are gonna go over all the little details and all the little facts and of the matter, but the truth of the matter is that in this instance, oh, this is an ugly video. This is an absolutely ugly video. There, you get videos like this saying, "Keep your hands to yourself. You shouldn't. He was looking to go there." Yeah. You can just see the hatred in her eyes. It's scary. It's truly scary. And this is a meme that keeps going around, and it's like it's just as disgusting as you can think, because I mean that's literally what everything points to, and there's no other way to look at it that way, because that's what happened. But I mean the GoFundMe thing is the real scary thing. I mean you got like people are popping that up, people are are making fun of, mocking. You got Asmongold commenting on it. The dude is like known to get into fights. He's posting like a gangster online. You know what I mean? So it's a fucked situation, and I just had to voice my opinions on it because I find this getting very, very, very scary. They're so quick to jump to his defense, and it's like, dude, man, like look at the fucking facts. Like he did something that is awful. Can't you say that he did something awful? Put aside any of your biases. Put aside any of your, commonalities. And, hats off to all the people who, are downright condemning this as a horrendous act that we cannot allow in our society. Yeah, I don't know. It's a situation that is very sad, and these people look like great people, and man, it's like it really paints a picture of America that is deeply degrading. It paints a picture of an America that is so divided that it's scary, and it makes us think of what the hell is the next story that's going to be like this? Like, are we going to keep. It just makes you infuriated. Infuriated that you would say something like that in the face of all the blatant facts. They called this kid a hero. It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. Yeah, I mean, obviously this kid had mental issues. You can see it. Like you can see it. You can see it in what happened. You can see it in the kid's Facebook posts. It's just he's an overwhelmingly disturbed young individual, and to paint him as some type of folk hero is just so wrong. It's so wrong. And this poor family now has to deal with something that was just like could have just happened to them. They would feel the pain, they would feel the suffering of it happening, but now it's this huge nationwide event, and I feel so sorry for these people. I feel so sorry for Austin's family, man. Like they're just now the face of evil to a lot of the people on the other side, and it's like for no reason. It's like I feel so terrible for that kid's brother, man. That is awful. And now you have all this this huge division that they have to deal with too in their grieving process. So I mean, let these people mourn in peace. That would be my only thought. Is just let them. You know, they're never gonna escape it. Who knows how crazy once this all gets into the court, how this is gonna go. And yeah, I don't know. It's a fucked up situation. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But it's a thing that is seemingly huge, and we just gonna have to see how it goes because it's just exploded, especially on sites like X. Let's watch some of the crazed Reddit comments. Horrible comments. Horrible comments that we've seen in this. Thank goodness there are some people on certain sides condemning his actions. Yeah, I mean that is how it is. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy how people will sound like self-defense. Does not sound like self-defense. There's no right or just society where that should occur, in my opinion. It's just wrong. It's wrong that it happened. It's wrong the people who are defending Carmelo. It's wrong the people who are touting him as a hero. It's a wrong situation. And that's exactly what it is. And we'll just have to wait to see how it hopes. Hopefully it all simmers down, but it feels nasty. And it feels like it's just another notch in that further dividing American society. So we'll have to keep an eye on it because who knows how the hell it's all going to play out. Peace.